for you to pick up. And then, of course, we're beginning to plan for our summer camp again. We're looking at having another 125 students in that and going from there. We'll also have, we'll get you an application on that. Otherwise, we continue just serving our employees, and we have approximately 60 staff, and Cherokee Nation staff in these classes right now. Yes.
Georgia wants to ask.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Sly, on this Cherokee language fair, is that the first year that you guys are doing?
Yes.
Is it patterned after the one that OU did?
Yes.
Just FYI, the information was sent to the high school, and so we got it. A lot of times if it's sent to one of the schools and the others
don't get it? Okay.
So I got mine, but I don't know exactly when you send it.
So are you recommending that we send it to every school building and not to the district office? What do you?
Well, I don't know who you directed it to exactly, but a lot of times it gets lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
So I don't know how you might remedy that if you even are going to consider doing it.
We hope to do it by sending it also to the JOM people, the contacts that they have for JOM program. And we sent it to Head Start and all their deal, and of course our immersion centers. But the public schools.
Well, for example, the JOM person at our school doesn't work with the language programs. So, sometimes she gets information. And it doesn't get to us because,
Okay.
the kids.
And it doesn't get to you from the school either, if we send it to the school?
I did get it, but that's a possibility that if you just send it to JOM, they may just throw it in the trash.
Yeah, we don't just send it to one, we send it to the public school and then to the JOM contacts too, because we have that. Hopefully that's getting to the appropriate people by doing that. But if it's not, let us know. We don't know what happens in those public schools. We're not out there, but I know that JOM is.
Go ahead.
Okay, and so we're just getting ready and preparing for those things in addition to continuing our classes. So that's about all of my report for this morning. So.
Any question for Ms. Sly? If not, we're done. All right, now we go down to the old business, and we have here now the Cherokee Artists Association copyright issue and request for a proposal. And who's going to? It says the chair, but anybody? Go ahead. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I see old business and under new business, and I guess I have a question for Todd. Is that the same? Is that the same? This request came from a motion that Councilman Martin had a couple of 2 or 3 months ago that we've just been tabling and tabling until we get a good recommendation. Working with the Cherokee Artists Association, Todd, I believe that was the motion.
That is correct.
I don't know if these two are the same.
Well, there are 3 related items, and with the pleasure of the committee, I believe it would be appropriate to take them up all now. First is. I have met with the Cherokee Artists Association, I believe the month before last. I can't remember what meeting that was. Well, I met with you all privately, and then I attended one meeting. I don't know if okay. But there is in your packet under new business a resolution for your consideration. Also, in the works, we have a legislative act that was voted on last month. That act should be withdrawn. Ms. Cherokee Watts is sponsoring a new legislative act that will be more comprehensive in scope about the protection of artists and the preservation of our culture and history. That act is in draft form. There will be a meeting on that March 22nd with interested parties that hopefully out of that meeting we will get the needed additional language and satisfy everyone's concern. And in April, you will have a comprehensive act promoting the commerce of Native American art and the preservation of Native American art. I understand that the copyright issue is of great importance to the artist, and the council has given instruction to make sure that copyright is protected. Or if it is sold after fair and equitable arm's length negotiation. That's what your resolution calls for. However, we cannot approve those contracts because I believe that would be a violation of separation of powers. But what the resolution will call for is that the council review all contracts that call for the sale of copyright, so that the negotiations are, the council will be aware of the terms of the contract and the negotiations that have taken place to ensure that everything is done above board and in an equal bargaining position. That would be my report, and obviously, the committee should recognize the artists that are present here today to get any input that they would have.
If the body is okay with it, then I guess would anyone like to speak on behalf of the Artists Association? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you can just share it this time, which is
Uh,
And before you start,
I just have a question. Okay, Todd, I don't mean to cause confusion here, but okay, so are you saying then that the resolution that's in the packet is the one that has been worked out with the Cherokee Artists Association, and it's being presented here today for more input, approval, possibly?
Yes, this resolution was emailed to me at your request. It was a draft from the Cherokee Artists Association. That resolution in its draft form called for the council to approve all contracts that had to do with copyright. In my legal opinion, I believe that would be a violation of separation of powers if we were to actually approve those contracts. Those contracts are negotiated between the artists and the corporate entities, and I would not be in a situation, or I believe it would be improper for the council to start the practice of approving contracts that the corporations negotiate.
So the resolution that was emailed to you has been changed somewhat?
Has been changed.
To the last now,
Yes.
Therefore be it resolved, that's the only part that's been changed?
And there might have been some language in the whereases, but nothing significant. The therefore clause, or the enacting clause of the resolution, reads as follows. Now therefore be it resolved that the Cherokee Nation Tribal Council supports the proposition that Cherokee artists retain the copyright on all original material, and said rights will only be sold or encumbered after fair and equitable negotiations by all parties. Further, the Tribal Council requests that all contracts calling for the purchase of copyrights of Cherokee artists from Cherokee Nation entities be forwarded to the Tribal Council for review.
I was just curious if the artists had this change in hand and have had time to review it.
Well, I made those changes and forwarded to the
I
secretaries.
never got a forwarded copy
Oh, well,
from you.
Well, I made sure that it was on the to the secretary's 10-day, to meet the 10-day requirement.
Right.
So it would be placed in all the packets and mailed out to everyone. Okay. And this is and it's on the agenda, and that's why we need to talk about it. If you want to change it back to approval, because the changes were as follows. Is that request that all contracts calling for the original version said that further the tribal council requests that all contracts calling for the purchase of copyrights of the Cherokee artists from Cherokee Nation entities be forwarded to the tribal council for approval. That was the original language. I changed it for review. Again, I don't believe that it would be a good practice of the tribal council to begin approving contracts by other entities. Now, we can be aware of what they are negotiating. We can be aware of the negotiations. We can be aware of the contracts. And if it's something that does not look fair and equitable, maybe we can take other steps to ensure that it happens. But I guarantee you, if we get into, if we pass a resolution that says that we're going to start approving contracts by our entities, well, we're going to find ourselves in court. And my job is to keep you out of court as much as possible, unless it's absolutely necessary.
Don't you get paid more if we get in court? I'm kidding.
With that explanation, then I would like to have some time for the artists to speak after hearing what.
Yeah. If you want to change it back, we'll change it back. I just wanted to let you know what I thought.
Right now, at this time, when we hear from the artists.
Okay. My name is Bill Glass Jr., and I this is my second appearance before your committee concerning this copyrights policy. From the very beginning, okay, I'm not good at speeches, so I'm just going to read what I got. This is my second appearance before this committee to discuss our concerns about the current art buying policies that are being enacted by the Cherokee Nation and some of their entities. The current policy requires that along with the initial sale of the artwork, artists must be required to sell all copyrights to their work. If an artist refuses to sell the copyrights to their work, they are denied the initial sale and don't get invited to future sales opportunities. The majority of the membership of the Cherokee Artists Association has expressed their views on this subject and do not agree with this policy, nor do we desire to leave such a terrible art policy of this kind to future artists to deal with. I have personally worked with two municipalities in my career, the city of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and currently the city of Tulsa. Neither have asked to retain the copyright to the artwork. This is where it makes me begin to think that white people have more respect for artists than our own tribe right now, the way that's set up. They never ask for our copyrights. They never do. But now, within our own tribe, we get this, that we have to deal with. In any sales that I've ever done in my past 30 years, I've never run into this situation before. So I'm just speaking from my own experience on that. At the last meeting on September 12th, 2006, the committee asked that we work with Mr. Humphrey to work out contracts that would be acceptable to the artists. This idea did not work out, and we almost lost hope. All we have wanted from the very beginning was to be able to make the initial sale without losing our copyrights. We feel that each artist can negotiate his or her own contract after appropriate information is provided about the intended use of his or her artwork. We do not feel that if an artist desires not to have his work reproduced, they should be eliminated from participation in any sales opportunity. And sometimes it takes time to find the right answer to an overwhelming problem. And we had hoped that we had found it when Mary Adair created that resolution that she submitted to Phyllis. And we're not very good politicians. You know, we're just artists. We don't know whether a resolution is better than an act. We don't know that. We don't know. But we still want this copyright issue addressed properly. I mean, that's all we're after, you know. We're not trying to be, we just don't know the procedure that you all have to go through or none of that, you know, the way you guys do your business is so. Mary came up with a good idea, but with her resolution, and all it still addresses is that one copyright issue, and that's our main concern. And it's a divisive issue, you know. Some people are selling their work, and some of them aren't. But we can understand that because some people have to make a living at art. It's such a tough business that they have to make a sale to survive. And we try not to get divided, but we still want to stand up for you know, what is right. So. And we haven't got a chance to to look at the new changes on that resolution yet, so we would be very interested in seeing how it's been reworded. So that's our part. Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, you know, I couldn't agree any more with Bill. I mean, we've got C&E that is a cash cow. I mean, the gaming, those things, and I know where they're coming from. They're saying, okay, we've got a gift shop, and you know, if we buy this, we might be able to do prints and make money and yada yada yada. But you know, we've got a duty here to keep our Cherokee artists alive and working and well. And you know, we put a percentage onto every project we've got to help facilitate keeping our artists alive. If we let them retain their copyright, and you know, we buy the original, and you know, that wouldn't preclude C&E from selling it in the gift shops and those kinds of things. But I've talked to several artists in the last month or so that sold goods that aren't being paid in a timely fashion, and they're literally starving to death. I mean, they can't pay their utility bills because the checks aren't coming in quick enough. And I mean, I think C&E contracted for it, but the tribe is actually the one paying for it. And so anyway, they're in a dilemma. And I'm just saying that these are Cherokee people that are Cherokee artists that we ought to be protecting and looking out for. And it doesn't even sound like to me that from standard practices we're treating them like other folks. And I think we ought to go above and beyond. And I think we did that when we started putting percentage for Cherokee artists' artwork in our facilities. But I do not think we need to strip them of their copyright and the opportunity, maybe not even for them, but for their family, you know, 30 years from now, to reproduce a fantastic work of art that might be a whole lot more famous in 30 years than it is today. And I'm, without going, I mean, and we sat on several meetings and we had a multitude of ideas, but I think this is pretty short and simple. And I want to move that we make it a resolution of this committee to send to full council, and I'll make that in form of a motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Chair,
All right.
I don't think we can send it. I think we have to send it through rules correctly. Be correct.
Yes, sir.
Bill John, I wasn't clear on what you wanted forward to full council. Is this a resolution?
Yeah, I want Todd to change this to a council resolution
Oh, I see.
to send to full council.
Well, the one that I just handed out is the one that the Artist Association
Fine.
approved, and the one that's in your packet is the one that was reworked by Todd.
I understand, but I want this to be the body of our resolution.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I understood the gentleman to say just a few minutes ago that apparently you have to review the situation that we're talking about.
No, we haven't reviewed Todd's changes to our resolution. He added a few changes at the bottom to our resolution that we submitted, and we haven't had a chance to review those changes to that resolution yet. So
Apparently, in the changes that he made, it included a review of contracts that we don't have in our resolution.
Todd?
I would refer to, I would let Mr. Baker speak before I do.
Oh, okay.
But the only difference between these that I see is in the therefore, which also has the same language that the Artists Association has, but then it gives the Cherokee Nation entities room to negotiate for the copyright if the artists want to sell it. So it allows them to sell it if they want to, but it doesn't force them to in any way. So it gives them a little bit more.
Well, the thing about that is the policy so far has been if you don't sell those copyrights, then you don't get the sale. See, it's an attached deal, and that's where it should be divided. You should still be able to make that initial sale for a painting and not sell the copyrights. You should have that, but not be eliminated from that initial sale. See, that's where ours is different. Ours says, we're just talking about the initial sale. We retain the copyrights. If you want to reproduce, well, we can write a contract for that too if we want to. But it gives us that option. It's what we like to have, not to have it one or the other. You know, if you don't sell the copyrights, then you don't sell nothing.
Bill,
That's
totally the question.
Yes.
I second the motion on this. Artists Association resolution that's been brought to us today. I'm Ms. Adair. And the reason I second it is because I haven't dealt with any of these artists, but I have dealt with other artists. And about every one of them that I have dealt with, they want to retain their own copyrights because that's where they really can come back and make additional fundings, not only through the Cherokee Nation, but they can go somewhere else and distribute their art and retain the copyright of that. If they get one that comes out and it's good and it's hot, they're going to sell it, you know? And they have a short span of time usually between the time that it stays hot, in other words, where they can sell it, that they can make some fun, you know, they make some money on these things. And it's just ridiculous to me for the Cherokee Nation to ask to retain copyrights. I mean, it's ludicrous to me, but that's just the way I feel about it. And I'm solely for this resolution or whatever we want to make it into, Matt, or that's the way I feel about it. Thank you.
Phyllis?
Mr. Chair, and Mr. Thornton said exactly what I want to say, and what I feel like if we've learned a lesson, it's that we need to be specific about what our legislation says, so that it's not misinterpreted, and that it is administrable, it is legal, it stands up, and that it's not left up to interpretation, because too many times we have attorneys or other people who look at our resolutions or look at our laws and they say, well, I think this is what they mean with that clarification. So, you know, I'm going to be happy whenever we come up with something. I think that the Cherokee Artists Association has made a good effort, but I still think the last clause there can be beefed up to you know, hold hold more water, to be more encompassing as far as the copyrights are concerned. I like the part in Todd's proposed resolution about it having to come back to the council, but I'm, sort of wondering how, that would happen. And I know that we have to work something out, but, a lot of times, for example, the cemetery applications come back to us and we review those, and yet, it seems like they're constantly being criticized for the amount of money that they're getting, and so I just want whatever we do to be able to stand on its own and hold water. And I appreciate the Artists Association patience in trying, working with us and trying to get something that'll hold up. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Ms. Yargy there. I agree with what the artists have presented here today. I also agree with Todd's draft. And instead of just passing this right on through, as Mr. Baker would like to, I'd like for Todd to work on this a little bit and put more teeth in it and make sure that we're getting exactly what the artists want and what we need to have in it, and pass it to rules the proper way. And not just take it and just go at its face value, but that's what we pay our attorney for, is to make sure that we're protected and everything. And so to just haphazard do this thing, I'd like to have Todd review it.
May I address the council? Just to give a history of where we were and how we've gotten here. As you are aware, and you've seen, they've been distributed through the committee, CNE has a contract that they present to the Artists Association. In my opinion, it's a all or nothing contract. Here you go. You're going to sign. If you're going to do business with us, this is the way you're going to do it. At the direction of this committee, I have taken that contract and I've made 3 different options of percentages of how to sell the art and retain copyrights, etc. Forwarded those copies, those copies to the Artists Association. I've also given them to John Parrish at the Department of Justice, and Terry Rhodes, who I don't know what her position is.
She's at the Heritage
President of the Cherokee Artists Association.
Yeah, she's a president. She also works in the CNA.
Okay. Well, I've given it to the president of the Artists Association and have requested additional input. I've gotten some input. I haven't gotten a lot, but we can work on a contract to suggest to CNE what they do. Again, we have a division line of separation of powers. We don't, unless we're going to change our Corporation Act, which you may want to do. There's only a certain amount of intrusion into the corporate field that we can do. Now, we can make suggestions and we can ask for review and we can make sure that everything's up and up, which is the intent of the resolution that is in your packet. I want to suggest, I want to let you know of the differences between what the Artists Association has passed and what's in your packet. First, I've added the 2 whereas clauses that by statute we're required to have in our whereas clauses, in our resolutions. Those are the 2 initial first whereas clauses. The language is the same until you get to the therefore or the enacting clause. The Cherokee Artists Association enacting clause reads as follows. Therefore, be it resolved that the Cherokee Nation Council approves a policy of the retention of all copyrights by Cherokee artists in the initial sale of their artwork to the Cherokee Nation or its entities. Approves a policy. Okay? You're making a statement. The resolution in your packet reads as follows. Now therefore be it resolved that the Cherokee Nation supports the position that the Cherokee artists retain the copyright on all original matters, and said rights will only be sold or encumbered after fair and equitable negotiations by all parties. Further, the Tribal Council requests that all contracts calling for the purchase of copyrights of Cherokee artists from Cherokee Nation entities be forwarded to the Tribal Council for review. Okay? That goes a step further than the Artists Association. The Artists Association resolution, you're approving a policy. Under the resolution that is before you in your packet, you're stating a position that you approve that they retain their contract. However, if they sell that contract, you want to see that contract for review. And that's what it would require.
Okay, right in that time here, let's see, we've had someone trying to. There's Carol.
It's already been addressed. Thank you.
Could I say something?
And Joe.
We're not interested in having the council help us negotiate contracts. We're used to negotiating contracts for use of our work on our own. And that's why we didn't include that in there. If we want to sell or license the use of our work for one purpose or another to the Cherokee Nation or anyone else, we're capable of doing that. And we don't need your approval of any contract that we negotiate. All we're asking you to do is to approve our retaining our copyrights when we make a sale to the Cherokee Nation. And then if they want to use it for some purpose, we're perfectly willing to negotiate with them. But we can do our own negotiating for our contracts. That's why we didn't have that included.
Okay, Todd, let you respond to that.
I just want to make sure to be clear on the direction of the council and to incorporate all the desires of the Artists Association. Is it my understanding that you want it to be, I guess, not only a policy but a law that the Cherokee Nation and or its entities are prohibited from buying copyrights?
Not prohibited.
With their initial purchase.
The initial purchase to anyone else, we just have an invoice and a statement to sell work. Danny can tell you a little more about that in negotiating this with Northeastern. He got a first payment through an invoice. And he hasn't had to give up any copyrights. That's the usual procedure in selling artwork. You just sell the artwork. Then if they want to use it for some purpose, you negotiate a contract. And we've been used to negotiating contracts, so we know how to do that. We don't need you to review those contracts or anything. If we want to sell something, then we can sell it and we can negotiate on our own.
I'd like to add that.
Okay. Right at this time, we'll let Joe Crittenden here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any major issues with what Mrs. Adair brought in. I know throughout history, whether it be Cherokee artists or artists from all over the world, a lot of times the nations are blessed by having people with the skill to create artwork and paintings and all that stuff. And oftentimes they have to do it in spare time, and the pay is not that great, and they become famous a lot of times when they're old or when they're not with us anymore. A successful nation promotes arts and humanities, and it seems like if we get too regulatory here with our council or with our other entities and whatever, it's becoming a hardship on the artist. I think we ought to promote them as best we can, and so I like this resolution that she brought in myself. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Baker, you got it.
Yeah, and I disagree a little bit. I think the one that's in our packet is a little watered down in that the council supports the proposition, and I'm not so sure that we don't want to go back on the original percentage of artwork that goes in and maybe add a clause that none of those dollars can be used to buy copyrights. Because the only purpose to buy the copyright is to reproduce and add a profit, or you wouldn't do it. And that's a separate issue. If there's a great piece of artwork that is really wanted and we're going to sell it in our gift shops and all, then we ought to buy it separate. We shouldn't take the dollars that we put in to promote the artwork of the Cherokee people and the artists and let C&E or whatever get a commercial buy with those dollars. We put the dollars in to promote the artists, to buy good artwork for our facilities. And I think the commercial side of it is a whole separate issue that ought to be negotiated separately. I like the short, simple, as Phyllis said, let's make it clear. And if we need to turn this into an act to make it a law, that you cannot buy the copyright on the initial purchase. That's a separate deal. Then so be it. These are our Cherokee artists. These are the ones that are promoting the art of the Cherokee people and keeping them alive. And to continually keep them starving artists, I think it's, Joe put it very well, that the most successful cultures promote their arts and all. So anyway, I think we need to be a lot less restrictive and maybe even go back and look at some of the other laws where they can't use that percentage to buy the copyrights. Done.
Okay, we'll kind of be running short on time here and make your statements a little bit short right here. And right now at this time we've got Jackie. Jackie Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And yeah, and
I don't know how to vote on this. I'm not clear.
Okay.
I have two pieces of documents here. I would make a motion. I will make a motion to table this issue.
Point of order. Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
To allow Mr. Hembry and this organization to get together and come up with one piece of legislation that we can vote on. Look at and vote on. Is that agreeable with the group? Would that be agreeable with the group?
Well, if you will agree with our resolution that we passed, but he keeps changing it to incorporate things in there that makes it possible for them to buy the copyright.
Mr. Darren, hold on. Baker's got a comment here. Comment still.
Jackie Bob?
Yes.
I made a motion to pass this. Now, you made a proper motion to table it. Buell made a good suggestion that we pass this to rules, give Todd time to get it into our format, and then we can discuss it in rules and not put it off another 60 days. And I would gladly accept Buell's friendly amendment if we wouldn't table this so that we could move it to the end of the month.
I would agree with that. I'll withdraw my whatever.
All right, Don.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see a lot of confusion, a lot of different ideas been floating around, and I like what we just now were talking about, and that's to talk some more and get this right. We all want to support the artists, and we want to make sure that it's done right. And I think you can put some more ideas into this, and we can We can work this out. It's not impossible. But where we stand right now, what the original motion, I would vote against that. But working through this rules, I think I can go that route. And I think it'll help everybody get it right. Thank you.
May I hear from...
And I would agree. Pass this on to rules in a resolution form. It can be amended and massaged. But I believe in order to, from what I've heard from the council, in order to effectuate what you desire, we need to change this into an act, and we will put it, I will also draft an act that will prohibit the purchase of copyright on the initial sale. That's what I is what all parties want. That Cherokee Nation and its entities cannot buy copyright on the initial sale. Period. Okay. Separate issues. All right. And I will, that will be on the rules agenda along with this resolution, and then we can go with it.
Call for the question.
One last thing on that. Would you please forward that information to Mary Adair instead of our president? Because there's been one of her bosses says she can't deal with this copyright issue as our president because it's a conflict of interest for her. She stated that in one of our meetings. So when you say that we're getting our art association president the information, it's not getting back to us. So would you please forward
Mary
that
will
kind of
give
stuff to
Todd
Mary?
the address as soon as he has it. He'll send it there.
But Mary Adair.
And I apologize for any confusion. I was just assuming that when I got the information to the president, it was appropriate. I'll have Mary's contact information today.
Thank you, sir.
Let's hear from one of the artists we've got.
I'd just like to say, I brought some examples of our work to show what can be accomplished, and these are models for large-scale ideas. And this will be like a 9-foot and 12-foot, respectively, size sculptures. And I feel that, we worked it out. The current policy is counterproductive to me for everybody because it works on a small scale, but if you want to get major pieces and major work by major artists, they're going to balk at it. You're not going to go for it, and we're just cheating ourselves. And we have to be careful of smoke screens and loopholes. And one thing I run into is they say that if we give our copyrights over, that they'll give it back to us. But what they do, it's like a box. They just give us a duplicate copy, and they keep their copy so that they're able to do what they need to do or want to do with that work. So in effect, we both have the copyrights, but they still own it as well. And so there's all these little smoke screens and loopholes that come up. And myself, I was approached to do the Catoosa show as a featured artist. And they said copyrights won't have anything to do with it. So I did the work, turned it in, shook hands, and after I turned it in, they said, we need the copyrights. So I said, okay, well, I'll get you a license agreement. You can do all the merchandise, and you can use it for promotional and education, just like you said you wanted to do. And they said, no, that's not good enough. So they said, well, okay, we'll sign it. So they signed it, and I got paid. I kept the copyrights, but a week before the show, I was out. All the merchandise was pulled, and no one saw the work. And that happened to another piece. And they kept that piece where I could have sold it to somebody else. And I didn't get anything for that piece. And I ended up giving it to Mom. And so there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. Everything's great here, and people nod their heads. But when they go back, they're working against us. And so I just want you guys to be aware of that. There's stuff that you guys aren't seeing that's pretty dirty. And that's why we're here. We're not here trying to get special favors. We're just trying to get basics. And I'm pretty worked up about it. People have the right to it. And I just thought you guys should know about it.
Call for the question.
All right. Repeat.
Question is to take what the artist brought,
Yeah, all right.
turn it into an act, and bring it to rules.
All right. All in favor of that this signify by yes.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Same sign. Carried. All right. We got a long one here yet, but I would like to make a statement right here. Let's give people a fair chance here that's doing all the work. They're the one that needs the money. They're the one that needs to pay for their work. It's just like any other job that you have. Those artists, I'll tell you what, I could take that deal right there. In just a little bit, I could have a rubber rice bowl over there, and as soon as everything's cured out, I could have you some kind of ware made out of ceramic, and pour that in there. Within a day's time, I'll have that same thing that's standing right there, just about as neat as I would just. But it'll be ceramic. It has to be cooked out and all of that other stuff, for what little I know.
Or you can make a 100-foot copy and the artist won't get anything.
So, let's pay the working people. We need our pay too, don't we? Huh? Glad to get it. All right. All right, so it's fast, and so let's go into the other one here next. We're far behind now. This time is... yeah, business number 2. Whew. This one here has been with us a long time, too. Former Chief Graveside Monument discussion.
Move to table.
Second.
We have...
Yeah, Baker.
We have a sales quote for some equipment. Do we need to act on this to move it to finance?
Yes.
Withdraw.
Phyllis?
Withdraw.
Huh? Withdraw?
Withdraw my motion.
Yeah, we really need to have some movement on it now.
Yeah, really, that's right.
Yes, I'm on the former Chief's gravesite monuments. We are making some progress. I anticipate next month bringing you a drawing of that. But on the cemetery work, that's the 2 pieces that you have that I placed near your Jill. There's a quote for some GPR equipment, and we had been told that if we could, if we needed, we could purchase new equipment. And there's a quote there that we're requesting. With this equipment, we would get the complimentary training for 2 staff members. And I'm going to ask that the staff members come out of community service and out of realty. The other thing that you have is the factors that we're going to consider in choosing the cemeteries that we will work on first as making a priority. Right now, I don't even have 10 on the list, but if we get some, it doesn't matter if we do it by district or if we do it just as they're turned in. But that's 2 things for you to look at. But we are requesting this.
Phyllis?
Mr. Chairman, which item are we on the agenda?
We're down at the former Chief's gravesite monuments.
Number 2 on the old business.
So we're talking about buying...
Well, this cemetery work, I didn't see it on there, but this is the GPR work that the council has given me some money for. That need to be on there. That's something that needed to be...
Do we need to amend the agenda?
Because I don't know if it
I
comes
make a
with the
motion
former
to amend
Chiefs.
the agenda to put on the GPS
And the consideration.
and the consideration.
You have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry, I get these kind of confused, and we have meetings together and things, and so I don't know when we separate them, when we don't. But the Chiefs monuments, the thing. So you want to go ahead and take care of this? Because
I move that we move the $22,000 to Executive and Finance Committee for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Carried.
and you can let me know or give me comments on the factors to consider on that later, and then we'll be bringing you the drawing of the marker that we will be recommending to you.
All right, let me get straight down here. Okay, at the end of the old business, and so let's go into the new business. Number one, approval of the cemetery restoration assistant application, which we have District 2, 4, and 6.
I'll make a motion we approve the one in District 4, Juliet Taylor Cemetery.
I'll second.
All in favor?
And I'll move that we approve the 2 in District 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move we approve District 2 and District 6.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed to them? All right, so, all approved. All right. Damn, that's all right. This one here is a legislative act relating to the Native American arts and crafts, commerce and
Mr.
promotion.
Chair.
Carol?
As noted earlier by Mr. Hembry, that should not have been on the agenda, so formally I withdraw it at this time.
Withdraw at this time, all right. All right, go to number 3, a resolution supporting artist right to copyright extinguished in the sales of work to Cherokee Nation.
Mr. Chairman, we've already discussed that
We
one.
just did that, yeah. Okay, now. And number 4, a resolution authorizing the submission of a proposal of the national environment here for the humanitarian.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So that concludes our meeting here tonight, this evening, this morning, and next tentative meeting is Tuesday, April 17th at 9
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're right now. It's over.
Employment in 3 minutes.